Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. Is that moon moving? It is, isn't it? In the last episode, we destroyed the Zamichi vampire, Azra the Unliving, within the third level of the Silver Mines. It was quite an epic battle, and they taunted each other to begin with as well. But in the end, we were victorious, and she was slaughtered at the end. On our leaving of the mine, we found an amulet of St. Jude as well, and took it as a memento for the battle. Upon arriving back here in Prague, we were cheered as a hero for the city. And I suppose we were, since we cleared the mine and will allow them to work it again for more silver. We returned to the convent and talked to Agnieszka a little bit. And we heard Christoph almost confess his feelings to her. The bishop overheard this conversation between the nun and him, and demanded Christoph tell him what had occurred. And that is why we are in the streets at the moment, as the bishop has basically told us to get our asses out here and clean it of all the hostiles that are present, in order to burn up all the hot blood we have, as we are a sinner. The bishop is none too pleased that I think Sister Agnieszka likes us, because I get the impression that he wants her for himself, or at the very least entertains the possibility of that. In any case, we came out here, and indeed we defeated a few of the Schlachtas, and then we bumped into some revenants who taunted us, and were going to get revenge that we killed Azza. And then they got their revenge. We were killed. And so now we get a chance to redo that. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure out where those guys are. I think they're right on that corner right there. Maybe around that corner. And then we will pretend that we were never defeated in the first place. What else can we cover really quick? We picked up some new equipment for Christoph as well. We are now armed, at least with some light armor. Nothing that fancy, but enough that we can take a hit or two. Actually, maybe take a hit or two. Take half a hit. Maybe a second hit. And I think we've been down there before. Where were the revenants? Here's our current stats as well, in case you guys were curious. I guess I should show this every single time we start. We have 35s in all of our physical attributes. Our intelligence wasn't improved yet, and it's still the baseline. And for our social skills, charisma, manipulation, and appearance, we put 2 more points into appearance, and that was it so far. I think they were this way. Which is interesting if they did appear this way, because that would put them by the convent again. We need to make sure that we get away from them right at the start, because we really can't afford to fight multiples of... Yeah, we can't afford to fight 2 of them at once.
'Tis the little warrior. I bet you're soft and tender inside your tin britches.
I'll eat your gizzard while it's still attached to your quivering body. This is thy payment for bringing final death to Azra the Unliving.
Okay, whoa, let's get away. I heard potence get used. Oh no. We really don't want to fight 2 of them with potence at the same time. That's really bad. Okay, we heroically retreated. We withdrew to a more advantageous area. They don't have many points in wits, and so they are unable to figure out how the path to us, you see. That's what's going on. This is why it's important to put more points into intelligence. It's normally a timed ability, by the way, but it looks like... Oh, and it is a timed ability. Okay. Can we kill your friend? Okay, you guys keep keeping on. We're gonna go find your other guy, your other friend, other partner, who safely just decided to stay there. And we'll kill him. Uh-oh, that's Potence. Oh, he tried using something else, but that failed. Good. I swear, guys, I won't really take advantage of the AI like this often. I feel like taking them all on at the same time is a huge mistake. We really do not want to do that. That was a pretty cool turn move he did right there. With the backhand of that weapon.
Alarms from within the convent. Inesca, I will protect thee. The Archbishop be damned.
Alarums. All right, let's get to the It's right here, isn't it?
For the love of God!
Christoph, thou hast brought evil into this holy place. This taint follows thy soiled soul.
It burns. The she-cow's vile purity burns like unto the sun.
Back to the abyss, hellspawn. Thou art anathema in the eyes of God. Die and be damned!
Away with thee! We forbid thee to defile this holy place!
Good for her. We have to kill. Yep, we have to kill the potent ones first. Include the Schlachter. Nice. Off with its head. Woo! Good work, Christoph.
It appears that I am once again in thy debt, brave sir, for coming to us in our time of need.
As I am in thy debt, for saving my life with thy tender care, and for thy uncommon valor in standing with me against the forces of hell.
I pray, my lord, that thou art always near to deliver us from this evil.
Milady, I pledge my arm to thy cause for as long as I draw breath and beyond.
Then I have faith in the safety of our humble convent.
His skill is great, and he fights with the strength of a demon.
His courage has opened the minds again. Think how the gift of Cain would enhance the might of such a man.
Aye. He has done great service to the Promethean cause by dispatching Azra without our involvement. But this decision must be made with surpassing care.
With so many of us missing, we need his sword in the coming tumult. The other clans are surely considering him for the embrace by now.
No doubt. But hast thou forgotten the power the Church wields over the minds of these mortals, Cosmos? His faith is the strength behind his steel. Stripped of his faith, would he be of any use to us, I wonder?
He has been cut from the herd by his wound. He's been separated from the heart of his sword brethren by many miles. Like any stray, he is more malleable. He may bend rather than break.
Thou art wise, Cosmos. How well thou knowest the hearts of men of war. Yet, I am not convinced.
The Premises are enraged at his continuing interference in their plans. I have learned that they have now placed a rich bounty upon his head. He'll not outlive the next moon.
Get thee to the Prince, and tell him that this night, Ekaterina the Wise awakens another into darkness.
Thy will is done.
And Cosmos, should this Christoph falter or fail, he must fall.
Milady Inesca, I must speak with thee.
Hush, lest thou rouse the convent with thy clamor.
I have wandered the city for hours, yet each turn of the streets did lead me back here.
My lord, 'tis dusk. Thou shouldst not be out of doors. Fiends shall soon be legion.
I would fight all fiends of hell to stand at thy door.
And how may our holy order assist his lordship this eve?
Milady, thou must hear me. I sought to tell thee once before, but fear took my voice.
What power could daunt the man who hath faced demons from hell?
The face of an angel from heaven.
Oh, my lord,
Thou hast struck me a wound that heals not. My life's blood pours out before me, and I cannot stanch it. I do love thee, fair Inesca. I do love thee with a passion I have never known.
My lord, I must protest. Such love is an affront to heaven.
If thou deny me, I am undone.
I cannot deny thee. I too am afflicted with a wound for which thou art the only cure. My soul fell when first I beheld thee, and now my heart is cleft in twain. My love of God and my love of thee have torn me to ribbons, for I must betray one to keep faith with the other.
Thus my sins do pour out before me, for I have spilt my wickedness upon thy innocent bosom.
Nay, 'tis my wanton desire that hath ensnared thy virtuous heart. I was a fool to confess my heart to thee. Gladly would I imperil mine own soul, but never thine.
Then truly we are lost. Our souls are beyond all hope of redemption.
My lord, look thou at the locket thou didst give me. 'Tis the locket of St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes.
Thus fate makes a bitter mockery of our plight.
Say not so. Where the saints tread, hope follows. Mayhap St. Jude shall bring us hope past all hope. I pray we find a way.
I pray so too. Thy hopeful words have filled my heart with courage, and I can leave satisfied. Farewell, fair Aniska.
Nay, the streets are not safe at night. Thou must stay here in the convent till the sun shines again.
May God have mercy upon my soul, for the devil has just placed into my heart the most impure of notions. I do tremble to confess it, but I feel I would cast away all holiness to stay. I would exchange an eternity of heaven's bliss for one night by thy side.
Know thee that thou art not alone in such desires.
Then truly I am damned. I am condemned for my lust, but I must not drag thee into the abyss with me. I must flee this holy place and return no more.
My lord, come back!
Release me! I command thee!
Thou struggles nobly. I love such passion. A lesser man could not even speak in my grasp.
What art thou? A demon sent from hell?
I am here to save thee, Christoph, to deliver thee from thy mortal shackles.
By the power of the Lord Eternal, I banish thee from my presence.
Poor child, thy faith died long ago. Amidst a dread battle, thou came to know thy true nature. Thou art a killer of men, no matter how thou dost try to justify thy deeds. Thou kills not when compelled by God, but when ordered by men. Now come to me. I am the mother of thy rebirth.
I know thy ways, demon, and I have lore enough to kill thee.
Nay, thou art helpless in my hands as a naked babe.
Nay! Oh, nay! Water. Aneska. Water, I beg of thee. I thirst. I starve.
I am Ekaterina the Wise, Ekaterina the Promethean, Ekaterina, the leader of the Bruja clan. We are the children of Cain, and now thou art one of us.
God have mercy on my soul. I am damned.
Steady now, whelp. Thou lackst the strength to fight, and I would slice thee in twain without hesitation.
Thou must feed, my child, before the hunger overtakes thee and drives thee mad.
Am I now a miserable demon? Stealing blood to live? Damned and cursed to hell? Is this all that remains of noble Kristoff?
Nay, my child. There is far more to thee than ever before. Thou art Bruja now. We Bruja are the philosophers of Cain's lineage. Where other clans treasured gold and trinkets, we sought pure wisdom. We strove to unravel the thorny knots that bind the very gates of heaven. Are we damned? Nay, we are exalted. In fabled Carthage, we lived in concordance with all mortals. Together we sought the secrets of Eden, that the children of Cain and the children of Seth would be raised up. But the hated Ventru grew jealous of our power. The patrician clan betrayed us, and tried to destroy us. We survived, but fabled Carthage did not. Despite this great loss, we Prometheans continue our search for harmony with all mortals.
We are the most noble of our breed, Kristoff. We seek only the fulfillment of the dream that was Carthage. But we need thy help to achieve this goal. A war lies ahead. A terrible battle that calls for warriors like us.
Wars among devils do not concern me.
We will cause thee to think otherwise, whelp.
Enough, Cosmos! The Bruja blood needs time to cool. Come, let us leave our young one to think upon his situation. But know this, Kristoff, thou would have been killed or embraced by our enemies on this night. We have given thee life eternal, and awakened thee to the true face of thy world. I do not expect gratitude, but our clan requires loyalty or death.
There is no life in me. Even my heart has ceased to beat. My very soul has been stripped from me. There is nothing left for salvation or damnation.
Thou needs must pledge fealty to thy new mistress.
Alright, everyone. My goodness, that was a bunch to take in all at once. Holy crap. Alright, so before we look at these answers, I want to get the funny thing out of the way right here that I just noticed, that I feel compelled to talk about. The guy behind that pillar has a really sinister looking smile on his face. It's like he's really enjoying what's happening to us at the moment. He's also kind of turning his head in exact time with what Kristoff's doing. It's really freaky. Who is that? Do we get? Okay. Let's okay. Serious stuff. So, you'll note that when the Covenant came under it. Oh my goodness, I can't pronounce it. when the place came under attack that Sister Aneska was in, the revenants were repulsed by her. They couldn't bring themselves to get close, given how pure of faith she was. Faith is a very important part I think at least in the old Vampire the Masquerade games, because the more faith you had, the more likely you could apply it to what's what I'm looking for? Turn? I don't know if that's the appropriate word. But you would be able to use it to make such creatures as vampires afraid of you. They would have a hard time touching you and things of that sort, the more you believed in your faith. It's one of the reasons why I improved Kristoff's faith. I think that, like, it's a major part of his being, given his earlier talks with the guards, given how he, in the end, ran out of the Covenant rather than risk damning his soul and Aneska's to a night of pleasure. He instead died out on the streets of Prague. So I think when it comes to the answers that we're going to give here, even though Ekaterina made it seem as if he doesn't have much faith, I disagree with that. It might not have been enough to turn Ekaterina, who was quite confident that what she was doing was for his greater good. And maybe it was a crisis of faith, with Kristoff wondering what on earth he was thinking when he confessed to Aneska. But otherwise, no, I don't think I agree with those earlier statements. Nothing I have seen or heard from Kristoff seemed to tell me that he lacks faith. So, on that note, when it comes to the answers that we see here, we can either immediately agree to follow Ekaterina, but we didn't talk with anyone about vampires. I think we could have potentially sought some information from the apothecary, the gypsy shop, but I felt like, given the questioning attitude Kristoff had before he went in there, he wouldn't have gone in there. Now he might be curious. Maybe he could be convinced to go in, but we're not in front of that shop now. In any case, we don't know anything about vampires, and the Archbishop didn't tell us anything about them either. All we know is what we saw, that these vampires seem to want us to work with them, and they didn't kill us when we had a chance. They turned us, which might have made a mockery of us. Maybe they did this for their own sick pleasure. We know that Ekaterina really probably believes what Cosmos told her, and that Kristoff was probably going to be killed or turned in working for the Sabbat in some capacity. Maybe even just risen and tortured to death. I can't imagine worse things, in fact, for the Sabbat to do to him. Maybe convert him into a chair where he is forever in searing agony for the remainder of time. But Kristoff doesn't know this. So we're not going to choose the first answer. No. Even though this would be probably a fair answer to give, Kristoff might want to know more about the world he's in, I think he would reject this outright. We're still faithful. You can't ask someone who is devout in his religion, to just immediately abandon it. So no, we're not going to do that. And that means this one is right out as well. No, we're not going to submit to her. We're not going to be a soldier for her. We're not going to pledge our loyalty to her. We know nothing about her, other than she's lacking most of her lower lip and jaw, and she killed us. She sounds pleasant. I'm willing to believe she might be correct, but not at this point. No way. So we're going to go with the last answer, because I think this is the most accurate answer we would give, given how Kristoff was raised and what he believed in until a few hours ago.
I do not agree to serve thee. I reject thee and shun thy evil works. I take my leave of thee.
Insolent whelp, I forbid it! Tempt not my wrath.
The man he was can do little else, Ekaterina.
The vampire he is must do otherwise, Cosmos.
He will learn, should he survive his own folly.
Thou speakest sagely, Cosmos. Very well, Kristoff. I shall not strike thee down for this one act of disobedience. And if thou leavest now, I shall not move to stop thee. But neither shall I lift my hand to save thee from reaping the fruits of such disobedience.
Then farewell, fair cruelty. I take my leave of thy damnable house and my own damnable unlife. For only in death can I find solace for the loss of my soul.
Such a death would not end thy accursed existence, but curse it even further. Shouldst thou ever meet a wraith, thou would understand that thy present torment is paradise compared to the anguish of those in the Shadowlands. Thou dost owe me a great debt for saving thee from a far greater damnation. And for that debt of life, I desire that thou heed the word of thy mistress Ekaterina, at least until thou hast sense enough to come in out of the sun. Do that, and guard my back on an important mission, and I will consider our account settled. Now, let us return to Ekaterina.
Kristoff, thou must understand that our enemies are legion, and none more vile than Clan Tzimisce, which infests Prague like a plague. The fiends seek thy death in payment for the slaying of Azra and her Shlachta servitors. If thou art to survive, thou must quickly master the powers of thy blood. Thou must pay heed to all our laws, or thou wilt become a gibbering monster like the Tzimisce. Our first law.
Mistress Ekaterina, I crave thy indulgence. Kristoff is a man of action. His learning shall be the greater on the field of battle than the parlors of the Prometheans. Let me take him on my mission to Garanal's Haven, where he may learn our ways firsthand. I could use a stout broadsword protecting my back.
Kristoff is not yet ready.
Verily, he is as ready as he shall ever be.
I would have thy counsel, Cosmos.
Kristoff is no bourgeois philosopher. His hot blood cools too much when he has no mission and curdles. Send him forth. If he survives, he will have mastered our ways.
Very well. Kristoff, go thou with Wilhelm Stryker. Trust what he says if thou wouldst outlive the night. Go, my swordsman, and strike deep into the lair of our dear ally, Garanal the Cappadocian.
Time to cut thy teeth, fledgling.
Alright everyone, let's cover a few things that have changed for us. We'll talk about these two and what I think Kristoff thinks about them. And then I'm quickly going to go and check on the recording to make sure my volumes are coming out okay. I think they are. And then we'll play a little longer. First off, our quest apparently is to recover the Nod Fragment, cross Judith Bridge and enter the Petrin Hill Monastery, find the Nod Fragment, and bring it to Ekaterina. We have now vampire disciplines. 1 point only in these. Feed, blood healing, and blood strength. Healing regenerates us slowly over time, not to full life. It depends, I think, upon how much we put into it. Feed is our ability to be able to draw blood from other vampires and living things by feeding on them in combat, if I recall correctly. And strength increases our strength stat as long as the buff is in effect. I think if this isn't called potence, it's close to it. We have celerity, right, because we are a member of the Bourgeois clan. This will increase our speed and our attack rate. Potence. Okay, so we do have potence. This is probably better than blood strength, I would imagine. And it increases the amount of damage that we do. We've seen the enemies use this. And awe. I'm guessing this is like majesty? Oh, hey! Oh, it says what it does. Charms target towards the user. So I guess that enthralls them. Grants increased automatic damage. Grants enhanced movement and attack speed. And what does this do? Drains blood from targeted victim. Yep, so this is using combat. Heals us. Increases strength. I'm guessing there is a difference between increasing your damage and strength, but I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. Alright, let's talk about other things really quick. Right, the first most important thing, our hotbar has to be changed because we can no longer benefit from healing elixirs. Vampires do not eat or drink. Like, they don't need to eat, like, hamburgers, spaghetti, vegetables. There's no need for that. They only drink blood. They can't process things like a healing elixir, I think, unless they use blood first in order to mimic it. And even then, we're not alive, so these healing salves won't do anything for us. Effectively, these are now garbage, and we should throw them away. We can still use holy water, but I don't think we do any damage any longer, because we have no... well, rather, it looks like this does 40 faith damage. I'm a little worried, though, that we could hurt ourselves with this, so this is also going to be off our hotbar. We now care mostly about scrolls and vitae instead. And to that end, it looks like William has some. This, I believe, restores blood when we drink it. Yep, plus 25 blood. We can use blood, then, to heal ourselves through Blood Heal. Our stats are a bit different now, as well. Note that we now have a blood pool, not mana. We don't cast spells the same way mages would. We have to use blood for all our disciplines. We no longer have faith here either. I have effectively wasted all those points we put into faith earlier. I am perfectly fine with that decision. I knew this happened to us. I just felt that would be the appropriate thing to do based on what Kristoff was saying. We also now have humanity. Humanity will determine... I think this might determine, like, the ending of the game from what I had read an age ago, but I'm not sure about that. I do know that humanity will help us resist the beast, frenzying, in this game, which occurs a bit more often than in other games. In other games being Bloodlines, the only other vampire game I've played. Actually, that's not true. I played a few other vampire games, but not set in the World of Darkness. Okay, so with all of that said, let me go and check on my voice, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, sounds like things are coming out okay. Let's go ahead and get our characters outfitted a bit. So William should probably be wielding his halberd. And let's take a look at his stats. And what is this? Scroll of Awaken. I have no clue what on earth that does. But we have two of them, just in case it comes in handy. I guess we'll put one on his bar at the moment. Maybe we can find out more about that in a shop somewhere. Oh, okay, there's a few other things here too. Kristoff is a 9th gen vampire. I think this just tells me basically how far away from Kane's bloodline he is. With Gen 1, I think, being the generation directly below Kane, if I recall correctly. So, the higher the number, the weaker the disciplines generally would be, and the less powerful you would be able to end up being. So Kristoff, being 9th gen, is a little bit better than Wilhelm is at 10th. It looks like Kristoff's health is 100, Wilhelm's is 120. His blood pool is 120 out of 100. I don't even understand how that is possible. Okay, your max is over on the left, and your temp and your current is on the right. Okay, gotcha. So we have less blood, less health than Wilhelm. Neither of us are frenzied. We have the same amount of humanity. Stat-wise, it looks like Kristoff has a little more stamina, which I believe affects our hit points, but he's a little less dexterous compared to Wilhelm. Wilhelm is a bit better in all of the intelligence scores, so he's going to be the brains of the group. And as for social skills, Kristoff is better than Wilhelm is in most ways. For his abilities, he has Feed, Blood Healing, Celerity, Potence, Eyes of the Beast, and Feral Claws. Aren't these gangrel abilities? You're a Bruja. Okay, we have Bruja abilities on our... Sorry, no, we have gangrel abilities on our Bruja. I guess I'm okay with that. It's just, that's a bit weird. I guess they were a little more free with who they decide to tell their... Like, how they decide to share their abilities in the past. And well, before we do anything else, I want to go ahead and see what else is here. We should probably talk to Cosmos and Ekaterina once more, and I thought there was a chest here. Our stash, as it were, in the Library Haven. But I'll be damned if I can find it anywhere, so I guess maybe we're in a different spot than we were in originally. Alright, so let's talk with these two quick.
Do not disobey me, child.
Learn thy lessons well.
Alright. Nothing else to tell us lore-wise, so I guess we're heading out. Wouldn't have minded having that dagger we stored in our chest, but I don't know where it's located. So let's leave.
Ekaterina is a scholar, not a warrior born. She would keep her fledgling studying vampire lore in her nest till Gehenna comes, and never hurl them from the nest to test their wings. But I cannot spend hours debating Cainite wisdom in a university. Give me a stout broadsword in my hand, and the sweet taste of my foe's blood on my tongue, and I have all the wisdom I need. And I suspect thou art akin to me.
I am not akin to thee, blood guzzler. I strike only those that deserve my steel. I do not murder the innocents to gorge on their blood.
Thou shalt feed upon blood, or thou shalt die. But thou need not kill to do so. Drink only so much blood as will sustain thee. Suffer thy prey to live on, for to kill during the feeding is to violate our Promethean ethic. And that way lies the beast.
The beast?
A beast born of Cain's sin doth coil within thy breast, Christoph. Keep it at bay, or be lost forever. Acts of cruelty unleash that beast, until it rules thee, as it rules many of Azra's kin.
The beast made them madmen?
Nay, the mad vampires are called Malkavian. Shouldst thou meet one, God help thee. Shouldst thou need his assistance, God cannot help thee. Nay, the beast is not mere madness, but demonic possession by the curse of Cain. We Prometheans are wayfarers in the land of the beast, but we stray not from the road of humanity, the Via Humanitas. By our acts of compassion are we saved from the jaws of the beast. Remember this always, or be devoured from within.
Okay, well, given that it's going to be night now, we should probably keep our weapons drawn. We will be recognized, I would imagine, by people as well on the streets, so...
Thou hast life everlasting, so long as thou keepest thy pallid flesh hidden from the sun's hateful rays. The life-giving sun only brings death to the likes of us. Each day we must retreat to our haven in the chambers below the university.
Okay, that's where our haven is. Let's go there very briefly and see if there's any equipment here. In particular, I want to access, once again, our stash and get that dagger out of it. For no particular reason, other than I feel like I should have kept it on us to begin with. Having a dagger go along with a longsword is a nice combination in case you end up fighting in close quarters. It's a thematic, atmospheric thing to do, but there is, honestly, guys, I can't think of a reason to do it in the game. We're going to be using this weapon. But we'll take it anyway. I guess we can rest here if we so desire. I don't remember what that does for us. Well, I guess we should hold on to the torch. We will not need, as far as I'm aware, any healing elixirs now, so we'll sell that. Apparently we can be diseased, by the way, and/or poisoned, because these aren't red in color like the rest of this is. Maybe we should hold on to some... I mean, well, no. It's... maybe we will hold on to a vial of holy water. It is not likely that we will, I'm imagining, have someone who can actually... no, wrong... I was going to say the wrong thing. I don't think we're going to say... Oh, there's our crucifix, by the way. We're not going to, as far as I'm aware, get another, like, living person on our team. It's all going to... It's vampires from here on out. If you're not going to take the crucifix any longer and to help you, Christoph, then you should take it instead. to sell it. It's made of silver. Although, well, no, that wouldn't work here. Never mind, that would be awful. Why would Kristoff look to sell the crucifix? That would turn quite a few, well, that would leave quite a few questions for whoever we tried to sell it to. So no, we shouldn't do that. Alright, well, as long as people keep putting barrels in the street, we're gonna keep breaking them. Because we have a desire for more than just blood. We also need loot. We're gonna need to purchase better gear. We have armor on. Willem has none. So we gotta get some gear for him as well. And now we have a reason to take rats. It's a bit nasty, but at the moment, I think Kristoff would probably prefer to eat rats than feed on a person at this moment. I think if someone sees you feeding on someone, by the way, they will react appropriately. So although this girl is here, looking around, not wanting to be fed upon by good-looking Kristoff, we're not actually going to feed on her either. Instead, we're going to look around for some more rats instead. And I think there were some around the corner here. We could probably go into the inn as well. No one knows that we're a vampire unless we tell them. That's a good way to get ourselves destroyed, and for people to become worried about where else vampires may be hiding around in Prague. Okay, I guess we're gonna jog a little bit. Don't tell anyone we're jogging. Our blood pool's a little low, so I like to figure out where we can go for more. The AI will automatically fight, I believe, with us. I think there's a way for us to configure the AI of our companions a bit, so I'll take a look at that between episodes. I don't think we'll really get into any more fighting in this one. Especially not if I'm walking everywhere. Which, of course, I'm going to do. But we should also look for more Shlachtas and Revenants being out here. I think this is a new night, by the way. This is not, I think, the same night that we were turned. There you are, rats. I see you over there. And there's some more rats. You guys remember the rules I had for old bloodlines last year? I wasn't allowed to eat rats, even though I was playing. Even though I was playing a Toreador. My goodness, can you believe it was just a year ago? It feels like I was playing that game yesterday. I think we finished it sometime in February, if I recall correctly. Okay. Full blood. Now, Wilhelm, though, probably has no problem feeding on a person. By the way, I really like William. He seems very... He seems like a good, friendly, down-to-earth vampire who tears people's throats out on occasion. Do we want to feed on the old guy? I think we'll be okay at the moment. I like that Kristoff was going to run out into the world and try to figure out a way to die. That's going to be difficult for him. I'm pretty sure he is Catholic. Because you can't kill yourself as a Catholic. You're not... Suicide's... Let me tell you, suicide's frowned upon. I suppose that would mean running into the sun. Would also, even as a vampire, be something that you would not want to do. I suppose, in a way, you could consider this as some sort of punishment. Perhaps, Kristoff.
I grow faint.
The hunger overcomes thee. The beast strengthens as thou weaken from lack of blood. Canst thou feel him uncoiling in thy heart? Thou must feed.
Feed or die, Christoph, for I shall kill thee before I let the beast claim thee.
Oh, we have to feed on this guy. Alright then.
Only what thou needs, Christoph. No more. Behold, his wound vanishes. Monsieur shouldn't drink so much wine, eh, Christoph? Do not worry. He'll wake up and know nothing of what has happened. Most mortals find great pleasure in the dark kiss. Ekaterina tells us that in Carthage, the mortals happily submitted to it.
Kristoff has gained a new rank. Did we just gain a free point and feed? Is that what happened? Hold on, is that what happened there? Nope. What just happened? Oh, we became a Neo-Knight. Alright, we are no longer a fledgling. I think that affects some of our abilities in some capacity. That's interesting. I forgot that, well, I mean, guys, once again, I have not played this game in something like 8 years. And once again, I did not get very far in it when I had played it. Or rather, maybe I did, but I didn't see the plot twist. I've been told that I was close to the plot twist, but didn't see it, and I still had quite a bit to go. So I'm very much looking forward to...
These powers tempt me to dark acts. How easily could I rain devastation on all who vex me?
Thy fear and thy power conspire to make of thee a beast. Seek thee an anchor for thy humanity, a rock to cling to when storms come.
Anezka.
Love for a mortal is the most dangerous of all anchors.
I must see Anezka.
That is most unwise. The cheerful world of daylight is lost to thee.
I must see her again, just to look upon her for a moment.
Ekaterina would not be pleased. Oh, very well. Shouldst thou display valor on our mission this night, I shall take thee to the convent, but only for a moment to glimpse her as she sleeps. Now come, our mission lies ahead.
Kristoff, I think that's a really bad idea. What you have to do when you break up is you have to throw away anything she gave you. You have to. This is I mean, I know you still want to be friends, but that period of time is gone. It's over. It no longer exists. You can't do it. All right, we are here briefly so that I can visit Venora's shop. We didn't walk into this earlier. It was quite unlike Kristoff to do so. But now we'll go ahead and visit.
Hello, young one. What is it you... But hold. You do look so strangely. Ah, they have hurt you. The Cainites have taken ye for their own. Oh, my poor boy. But fear not. Unorna neither fears ye nor casts ye out. I'll help ye, if I can.
Oh, very nice. I like that. Alright, so she will buy things like our healing salves, and we no longer need these. So we might as well just sell all the healing salves we have. We'll pick up a little bit of cash. Cool. 248. Let's see. And once again, guys, I don't remember any of this. So, like, what do any of these things do? I have no clue. This is very expensive, most of this stuff. I think most of these scrolls are single-use casts of the equivalent discipline, so we don't really need any of these. I think there's a scroll which is like an identify scroll, and we're going to want a few of those. But I don't remember what it's called. And I don't see it here. I think I will buy a single bottle of Vitae.
Farewell, young one.
And pass that on to Wilhelm. I can't think of anything else that we need here in Golden Lane. So let's now head back across and visit the monastery. Back across, we're going to... Oh, wait, we're here already. We don't have to cross the bridge. We already crossed it. Oh, I should have healed myself with a blood heal before I fed on the old guy. I guess we can do that now? Okay, it seems to be a ratio of some sort. So much blood for so much healing. Since Kristoff's wearing armor, he will take the lead. I really like the facial expressions of our guys down below, by the way. Very nice.
Behold Petron Hill Monastery, haven of the Cappadocian vampires in Prague.
The monks are vampires?
Nay, the Cappadocians lurk in the desecrated crypts below the monastery, out of sight of the monks who provide them with fresh blood. Only those monks that serve Garanal know the real master of the monastery.
Well, I think everyone will stop here. And when we come back in the next episode, we'll actually head to the monastery and begin seeing what we can do to get the Book of Nod. So I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care.